Hello students, today we are going to do the next chapter from our main textbook of English, Honeydew, and the chapter name is Tsunami. So, before we move to the chapter, let us have a short introduction of the chapter. So, as the title name, that is the chapter name is Tsunami, let us know what is a tsunami and tsunami, how it has been destroyed the people life, and after that how the people are living and how the people reacted to that tsunami on that situation. Plus we are going to see how the animals reacted to that before the tsunami came. So here we are going to see what is a tsunami. A tsunami is a very large and powerful wave caused by earthquakes under the sea. That is, a tsunami is a natural calamity that causes huge destruction and loss of life and property. So we can see the sudden shaking of earth on the sea, under the sea, which causes tsunami, and that is very large and powerful wave with that it is a natural calamity and it is not a human made, and it creates a large destruction, a loss of life and property to the people. So here alongside the story of deep sorrow are reassuring details of courage, survival and resilience. That is, here in this chapter we are going to see the story that showing the deep sorrow of the people and reassuring that how they are living after the incident and how they are living with the courage and the willingness to survive after a bad incident in their life, after losing their so many relatives, family members, and how they are living after that and what they are reacted to that situation and how they felt on that time. Everything we are going to discuss in this chapter. So let us see that on 26th December 2004, that is on 26th December 2004, in that year a tsunami hit Thailand and parts of India such as the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So the tsunami has hit some places like Thailand and the parts of India such as the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and Tamil Nadu coast. Islands. You can see that islands, as you know, it is surrounded by all the four sides by water. So here are some stories of courage and survival. So we are going to see some stories here that show some courage and survival of the people after the tsunami hit. And along the way of the stories of the people, we are going to see that have animals sensed that tsunami was coming, that the animal have sensed the danger before it came, like that the tsunami is going to come after an hour or 4 hours before, like animals have sensed or not. Let us have something about that. Let us read something, the story which shows that animals can also sense the danger before only, and some stories that we are going to read in this chapter showing the sense like animals have sensed the feeling of tsunami before only, before it came, like that. Okay, let us move on to the chapter, but before we to the chapter, let us see the map of Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the places surrounded by that. And let us do one activity before this. So look at the map of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands given here. You can see the map and some sentences are given to you. Now you are going to rewrite the sentence in the correct form. That is, one mistake will be there in the sentence and you are going to correct that and you are going to write it the correct one. So here see, the first one is Kachal is an island. Yes, you can see down in the Nicobar Islands in the map. Kachal is in the Nicobar Islands. So it is an island only. So it is the part of the Andaman group of islands. No, it is wrong. So you are going to correct it and you are going to write the right one, the Nicobar Islands. And the Nankauri is an island in the Nicobar group. Yes, you can see in the Nicobar Islands, that is Nankauri. And Kachal and Nankauri are more than 100 miles apart. So you can see that in the map the kilometer, miles and everything has given. So from that you can understand that it is 70 miles. So it is wrong. So you have to write it again. So the Andaman and Nicobar Islands are to the west of India. So in the map above you can see in India, the orange color arrow is given. It is in the east of India, but it is given in the west of India. So the last one is the Nicobar Islands are to the north of Andaman Islands. Yes. So the Nicobar Islands are to the north of Andaman Islands. It is also wrong. It is in the south of the Nicobar Islands are to the south of the Andaman Islands. So like this you have to just have a recap of it, and just let us move on to the chapter now. Let us move on to the chapter. So there are 3 parts in the chapter, and we are going to see the first part, in which we are going to see the stories behind the people in the place of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, how the people reacted to the situation of tsunami on that time in the place of this Andaman Island. So these are all of from the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago, that is a group of many islands and the surrounding sea. Archipelago, that means a group of many islands and the surrounding sea. Ignatius was the manager of a cooperative society in Kachal. We have seen that Kachal is an island. In that place a manager was there, Ignatius, and the name of that manager was Ignatius, who was working in the cooperative society. His wife woke him up at 6 a.m. because she felt an earthquake. So when this Ignatius was sleeping in the morning 6 a.m., his wife got a sense of shaking of the earth. Earthquake, you know, a sudden shaking of the earth. So that she felt, and she is waking her husband. So that time Ignatius carefully took his television set off its table and put it down on the ground so that it would not fall and break. Then the family rushed out of the house. So what happened? 6 a.m. when she was waking up, his husband done some work, that is the television, and what he was doing, he was taking it and putting it down the ground, because when the shake of earth comes, we should be very careful that when heavy items will be there, we have to put it on ground, because when the earth shakes, it will fall on the people. So he was doing the first precaution from the tsunami, that is he was taking the heavy items and keeping on the ground so that it will not fall and break. Then the total family rushed out of the house now. When the trimmers shocked, they saw the sea rising. So the tremors stopped, that means the shaking, slight shaking stopped. They saw the sea rising. They saw that the sea are rising very highly. In the chaos, that is in the confusion, 2 of his children caught hold of the hands of their mother's father, that is Ignatius' father-in-law's hand. The 2 children were there. They were in the hands of the father-in-law and mother's brother, that is brother-in-law of Ignatius, had rushed in the opposite direction. Where Ignatius was standing, they were rushed in such a confusion that they went to the opposite direction of the Ignatius. And the father-in-law was having two children of Ignatius, and the brother-in-law in other side, and rushed in the opposite direction. He never saw them again. After that, Ignatius never saw them. His wife was also swept away. When he saw that, his wife was also swept away, taken by the water on one side. So only the three children who came with him were saved. That means Ignatius and the other children who were in the hand of Ignatius were saved on the incident. So when the tsunami was hit on that place, when Ignatius was there, the whole family was washed away. Only he as well as the three children with the hand have been saved. So this was the story of Ignatius at the time of tsunami. Let us move on to the next person story. Sanjeev was a policeman serving in the Kachal Island of the Nicobar group of islands. He somehow managed to save himself, his wife and his baby daughter from the waves. That means what happened? Sanjeev was a policeman serving in the Kachal Island, in the same island of the Nicobar group of islands. He somehow managed to save himself. That is, he somehow have managed himself as well as his wife and his baby daughter and saved from the waves of the tsunami. But then he heard cries for help from the wife of John. That is, he saw that the wife of John. Who is that John? The guest house cook. His wife has been loudly shouting to help. So that time Sanjeev jumped into the water to rescue, to save her, but they were both swept away. That means the water has taken away both of them. So this is the story of Sanjeev. Sanjeev, as a policeman, he was very much brave, we can say, because he was not only thinking about his family, he was also thinking about other people and want to save, and has lost his life because of that. So he is brave as well as not a selfish. He is a genuine person who has having a feeling to save others by his own, we can say that, as a policeman. So this was the story of a Sanjeev as a policeman. So let us move on to the next story, and that is the story of a 13-year-old Meghna. That is the story of Meghna, was swept away along with her parents and 77 other people. That means he was also swept away in the water with her parents, and 77 other people were swept away. This was the story of Meghna. Along with the parents and 77 other people, he swept away, and she spent 2 days floating in the sea. That means he was floating on the sea, holding to a wooden door. We can see that so many things will be floating on the water when the tsunami hit. That time he was taken a door, and in that he was went, and what happened, she was floating on that, and she was only floating for 2 days in the sea. 11 times she saw the relief helicopters. That means the helicopter which come overhead to save the people, but they have not seen Meghna over there. And she saw the helicopter 11 times. None of the times she was saved by the relief helicopters, but they did not see her. She was brought to the shore by a wave. The wave brought her to the shore, that is to the end of the sea, and was found walking on the seashore in a daze. That means in a very confused, unable to think of anything. because she has lost her family. Unable to think or to react properly, she was walking over there, feeling very bad and very much sad about the incident. We have seen three people incident, that is the story of Ignatius, who has lost his family and only three children were remaining with him. And the next story we have seen about Sanjeev, who was a policeman. After saving himself and his family, still he's for going to save other people, he has lost his life. And the next story we have seen now, it is the story of Meghna, who has swept away with her family members and the 77 other people, but as an intelligent girl, she was floating on the wooden door, and she was floating on the door for 2 days, and 11 times the helicopters have came overhead, but they were not seen her, and she was brought to the shore, to the end of the sea by the wave, and she was walking on the seashore with a confused, not able to react anything, and she was walking with a sadness, with a loss of his family members. Now let us move on to the next story of Almas. Almas saved 10 years old. She was a student of Caramel Convent in Port Blair, where her father had a petrol pump. Her mother Rahila's home was in Nankauri Island. That is, Almas was 10 years old and she was a student of Caramel Convent in Port Blair. Port Blair is in, we have seen that in Andaman, and the father was working in the petrol pump. He was having as his own petrol pump, and her mother Rahila's home was in Nankauri Island, that is Nicobar Islands. In that the Nankauri Island is there. This Almas mother's Rahila's home was there. So the family had gone there to celebrate Christmas. So we have seen that it was on 26 December. So on 25 December people used to celebrate Christmas. So this Almas family have went for celebrating Christmas. When the tremors, that is slight shake, came early in the morning, if the family was sleeping, Alma's father saw the sea recede, that is going back very forcefully. He understood that the water would come rushing back with great force. He woke everyone up and tried to rush them to a safer place. So, after celebrating the Christmas, when it was in the early morning, the family was very deeply sleeping, and Alma's father, who woke up, saw that the water is going back very high. And he understood that the water would come rushing back with great force. He understood that the force which the water is going very back, from the same force it is going to come back again. So he is waking up everyone and he is trying them to push them to a safer place. But what happened? Let's see. As they ran, her grandfather was hit on the head by something and he fell down. Her father rushed to help him. Then came the first giant wave that swept both of them away. Alma's mother and aunt stood clinging to the leaves of a coconut tree. You can see on the picture that they are started to climb on the coconut tree and they were hanging on it, calling out to her. A wave uprooted the tree and they too were washed away. That means when they were started to move on ahead, the grandfather was hit her head somewhere, so he fell down. When the father of Almas rushed to help him, the water first giant wave came and it washed away both of them. And next, what happened? Alma's mother and aunts, when they were running on that time, they climbed the coconut tree, but the wave came in such a way that it uprooted the tree also, and they all were washed away in the water. Alma saw a log of wood floating. That means the log of wood which was floating on the water, she saw that and she climbed on it. Almas was very brave, and she was doing at the moment. At the moment on the danger also, she was brilliantly climbing on the wood, and then she fainted. That means she was tired and she fainted there. And when she woke up, that means there only she don't know anything. She was like unconscious, and when she woke up, she was in a hospital in Kamorta. So she was in the hospital in the place of Kamorta, and she saw that nobody was there around her. From there she was brought to Port Blair, and the little girl does not want to talk about the incident with anyone, as the little girl was very much sad about the incident, and she does not want to talk with anyone because she has lost her whole family, and she is still traumatized. She is still tired, and she is in a confusion, and she was not able to recognize the situation still. She was in a very much bad situation she was suffering on that time, and she was shocked to see that around her nobody, her family member was there, and she was distressed. So this was the story of Almas. So in the part 1 we have seen the story of Ignatius and Sanjeev and Meghna and Almas. All this story we have seen the situation of tsunami, how they have been reacted to the situation, and how they have been lost to their families, and how they are living after that is a question mark for them. But still people are having such a courage and survival after living back of that situation. So let us move on story in the next video of this chapter. Thank you.